like it's really dark. Hello. Hello, hello. Who all is here? Can you hear me? Please put a comment in so I can see if you can hear me. I hope everyone is well today. Thank you so much for joining. I see we've got a couple people in here. If you could just put a message in and let me know if you can hear me, please. Hola, ¿cómo estás, Jera? Can you hear me okay? So I wanted to hop on. I promised that I would hop on to speak to you all as a follow-up to the Q&A that, well, it was a Q&A, it was a conversation, it was a vibe with the nappy-headed jojoba and Seren. I was really, really excited and happy to speak with them both. I had actually done Buenos dias. Good rising, Adrian. I had actually had the fortune of being able to speak with both of them individually. So it was the first time that all of us got on together. So that was really exciting. How many of you guys saw it? The full extended version is available through my Patreon. And the edited version is on the Nappy Headed Jojoba site. So how many of you guys saw it? And I'm also just open for, questions, relocation questions, whatever you guys want to talk about. And I hope you can see me okay. Oh, you only saw half? That's okay. You hadn't? Yeah, we talked about a bunch of stuff. If you're already a patron of mine, though, you can see the whole interview. The entire thing. It was about an hour and a half. I think the one that she posted is 45 minutes. But if anybody has any questions, any concerns, anything that you wanted to talk about, so people have asked me all kind of crazy things, but I love doing these because they're fun. And I feel like we get to know each other a little bit better. So it is sunny and gorgeous here in Escazú in Costa Rica. I just got off my live on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, please do. On Mondays, I do tarot. I read tarot for individuals. And I came over here just to check in with all of you. I hope everyone is well. It was a very heavy week last week, wasn't it? We lost a close friend of my husband's. And then, of course, Chadwick Boseman passed away. And it was just a really heavy emotional week this last week. Parece tan bonita. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Yo no siento tan bonita, sí, más. Yo agrada. Thank you. So yeah, I see Jera's here. I see Adrian's here. If you're in the room, please say what's up. Give me a like for the algorithm. Hey, E. What's up? Did you watch the video? Did you watch the interview? Oh, it's really early? I guess so. Yeah, it is. It's early. Were you able to watch the interview? Well, the conversation with me and Seren, and so for those of you that didn't, because I see a couple of you didn't, basically it was me, the nappy-headed jojoba, and Seren discussing some of the challenges. No worries. It was just we were talking about some of the challenges with deciding whether to stay and fight. Stay, in the US or in the UK or in Canada, or to continue your fight abroad, which of course you guys know where I stand on that. But ultimately, what I ended up saying, and where Seren and I think T also agree, is that whether you stay in the US or in Canada or wherever you are, or you decide to leave and become an expat, there's a necessity to be committed to work, to doing the work of fixing the issues, of fixing what it is that we are currently experiencing. Because you can't go about things the same way. There's a necessity to be willing to change your approach. Please give me a like as you come in, please. It helps with the algorithm. As you guys know, I'm still very small. This channel is not monetized, but all of your likes and your support and your time really help. So yeah, we were having some really candid conversation around some of the issues and some of the things that are really facing our community and the decision to leave or to stay. And the automatic assumption that I get a lot is that, oh, you're an elitist. I couldn't be further from it. There are elitists who are 1,000% committed to leaving the US or leaving the struggle behind them. But you don't have to necessarily leave the country to be an elitist. There are people who just move to nicer neighborhoods within your own state and act as if, they're completely obtuse to the struggles of the people where they used to be from. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate it. Can you guys do that for me? Because I'm really not good at that. Yeah, please subscribe and like. I'm gonna make you a moderator. Eric, do you want to be a moderator? I'll make you a moderator. Boom. You guys can help. So yeah, there's this necessity to understand that just because you choose to leave and move abroad and build community abroad, it doesn't mean in and of itself that you are abandoning the struggle or that you're no longer concerned with the needs and the wants of those, who are where you no longer live. Why do I say that? And I brought this up the other day too. I had actually asked a question. I posed a question to another content creator who I have a lot of respect for, Julesy. I went in her live on Instagram and I asked her, had she considered living abroad and da da da. And she proceeded to say that she wouldn't abandon her people or abandon the fight. Meanwhile, there's tons of people who, once they get access to a slightly better income, or the opportunity to move, they do. And they don't continue to do the work. They don't fight for better schools in the town they grew up in. They don't fight. There's none of that. And so this idea that by leaving and living a more peaceful, sound life where your life is literally not being threatened every day somehow means that you are abandoning the struggle. And I don't think that that's true or accurate. I actually feel like that's somewhat short-sighted. I do. I think that it's a short-sighted perspective. I don't think that it's 100% reasonable, to have that perspective. I think we all need to be really honest about the reasons why we move. Right? I grew up on Slauson and Crenshaw, and once I was able to not live there anymore, I didn't. I still lived in LA, I still lived in the community, but there was my own desire to want a better life. And this concept that something is wrong with wanting more than what you started out with is an issue for me. It actually really frustrates me because out of one side of our mouths we say, practice self-love, want better for yourself and for your family. Work hard to have better for yourself or your family. Do we only mean that if it's within the confines of the country that we grew up in? Do we only mean that if it means that you are still living with a certain level of struggle? What is it within us as a culture that doesn't allow for real growth and evolution? I mean, complete. What is it about our culture that that makes it that makes you a villain for deciding to make sacrifices to have better? Because I've made the sacrifices that I have, I'm able to have this platform to communicate, to inspire other people, to build community. I walk my talk. Rich people who, started out not doing so well and now they have more money. No one guilts them for moving. No one guilts them for buying a bigger house. Nobody guilts them for wanting to do more. Nobody does. This is not any different. And if anything, the standard, the amount of money that you have to acquire to live differently in the US is way more than you'd actually need to enjoy the same level of comfort abroad. That's the thing. That's kind of the trick to this. Oftentimes, your money can go further and you can enjoy a higher quality of life on less money than if you continue to stay within your developed community, wherever that is, whatever country you're in, and you were trying to access the same thing. The house that I live in, if I stayed in LA, this house, this is a $15 million house that I'm living in LA standards, probably even more because of all the acreage and the land that I have. What's the likelihood that I was going to actually get an opportunity to own a property like that where I'm from? Almost nil. Almost nil. So was I supposed to continue to struggle? Exactly, Joanna. The audacity you have to want more is the pushback. Absolutely. That's what makes people uncomfortable, because what it does is it makes them have to think about why they don't want better for themselves. And let's take it outside of the leaving, right? Because we'll get back to it. Let's just talk about you wanting better within your own life right now. Let's say that you're tired of hearing people complaining about all the graffiti and the crime and the trash and the way that things aren't being taken care of in their communities. You know what you would need to do? You would need to be personally willing to commit to picking up the garbage, to doing night patrols of your own community. But people don't really want to do that. A lot of people are just more comfortable with just complaining about it. The things that Seren offers are real life solutions. But it takes work. Like she said, you have to be willing to arm yourself. If you're going to go and set up a separate community, knowing the history of the country, and you're not comfortable arming yourself, then you're not really serious about change. I don't care if you stay where you are or you leave. No, you don't have control over your own communities. But what it would take for you to do that are people willing to do. Please put a like on the live, please. I see we have 18 people. If you guys could just go out, hit the like, and then come back in, I'd really appreciate it. Trying to get more eyes on the algorithm to improve my standing. I'm not, this isn't a monetized channel yet. I'm still very small. But I appreciate all of your support, and I want to have these conversations. I'm not preaching. I want to have conversations about how this can change. And a lot of what Seren was talking about would allow for that change. And a lot of what I'm talking about would allow for that change. Because honestly, you guys, I am here building this community, but I'm only accepting people that are really about working. I'm only accepting people on this particular piece of land to work with me as my neighbor. I'm looking for people who are committed to growing food with us, to taking care of the animals, to taking care of the land, who are willing to climb a ladder and fix some things. Like, we have to be able to rely on each other in a very real way. I'm a relocation specialist. That's what I do, you guys. I can help you relocate anywhere that you want. I also have my community, Angela's Vista, that I'm very committed to and I'm building out at this point. If that is something that you're interested in, you would have to join the Patreon and you need to sign up for an interview. The Patreon, the reason for it, don't put that on the floor. The reason for it is so that you can get into these Zoom calls, get into these meetings with us, get to know the people that might be your neighbor. Also, I talk about community building as well. I talk about spirit. I talk about all kinds of stuff. It's a vulnerable, open space for us to get to know each other. You set up the interview so that I can give you more information about Angela's Vista and the vision of Angela's Vista, but it is a real community. So I waited until I actually moved, till I actually had some land, till I actually owned property, till I actually had, animals that I was raising before I opened my mouth. Because to me, there is a lack of transparency with a lot of people that are actively fundraising and actively trying to get support for things. Where's the proof? Where's the proof that they're doing what they say they are? One second. Sorry. But I was saying, where's the proof that the people who are presenting themselves as authorities, presenting themselves as leaders, where's the proof that what they're talking about they're actually able to put into practice? When Seren talks about community building, when you look at the sheer quantity of videos and research that this woman has done, I think that it's fair to say that she can be someone who you should listen to. When you listen to the things that I say, I've lived abroad multiple times. I live what I talk about. I have the pictures to prove it. A lot of people in our community, unfortunately, don't have anything but their words. There's no proof of anything. There's no follow through. There's resentment. I think that when we allow people space to have platform, we need to hold them accountable. Accountability is everything. Accountability is what will repair our fractured trust in our community. Is by holding people accountable. I'm not talking about being critical for no reason. I'm not talking about not extending faith, but I am talking about using critical thinking and holding people accountable for what it is that they say. I walk my talk, you know? There's also a great resistance, I feel, with women being in roles of leadership, with women's voices being heard and respected. There is a more comfort hearing it from a man. Not to call names, but I was listening to someone talk about this earlier with Umar in his school. Umar Johnson, where you at? What? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? I don't have a problem calling out names, Eric. I think that it's fair to call out names. It's disgusting to me that this man has received millions at this point, because he's been fundraising for 10 years, millions of dollars, millions, at least out of his own mouth. He's actually said, watch Lenore Honor if you guys don't follow him, if you don't know who I'm talking about. Lenore Honor has done a lot of work, and others have done a lot of work chronicling this. Make a change, also tons of receipts, like receipts. What is it within our community? What is it within the dynamic, this kind of preacher culture, that we are so comfortable giving people platform and room to be in roles of leadership without them actually needing to prove themselves? Are you interested in helping people build sustainable communities and connect with each other in different countries? Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what it is that I'm doing. Sorry, Reiki. That's exactly what I'm doing. Absolutely. I want sustainable communities. We need to look at different models for it. We need to see, this is the thing, because y'all brought it up, right? Why is it that when people like myself, like Seren, like other people who are boots on the ground, we don't get the support? Umar Johnson is verbally abusive. He's sensational. He doesn't follow through with anything that he says. He spent $400,000 on buildings that were actually slated to be demolitioned by the city. They're near a Superfund site. Really, this is what actually happened. This school for our Black boys. He's emotionally abusive. Um, and yet people send him their hard-earned dollars all the time. All the time. That money could have been spent in so many other positive ways. He could have been started a school. You don't need to buy property to open a school. Charter schools rent properties and set the school up there. There's no, I have people come and DM me all the time and they go, well, why should I trust you? How do I know that you're who you say you are? I don't have any problem giving my receipts. Okay. I speak Portuguese because I lived in Brazil for 5 years. I have proof of what I'm doing. I'm in Costa Rica right now. I've shown you guys what it is that I'm doing. The pictures show it. You see my goats, you see my children. When it comes to women, and I think that this has to do with gender. I think that this is indicative of patriarchy. I really do, because if it was me running around telling you guys that you don't really support me and my school and and you parents are trash and I'm going to keep your kids from you and all the crazy, the insane things that are said, that would not be allowed from a woman. Far too many people. Wait, I'm going to read your comments. I think people with the right oratory skills get the shine. I think so too. It's preacher culture. My father was a minister. I speak very well, I've been told, but I also know that I respect your intellect enough to back you up, to back up what it is that I'm saying. Seren does her research. Even if you don't agree with everything that she says or her perspective, she's a very well read, educated woman. So the things that she says come from a place of education, even if you don't agree with the outcome. Far too many people want a supernatural miracle. Change requires consistent hard work in this realm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's 3D. I'm a spiritualist. I'm a spiritualist. I believe very much so in the effect and the power of the unseen, but it manifests itself in the seen. Because we have to be consistent and we have to be willing to put in the work and we have to be willing to take responsibility. I've never heard this man take responsibility for anything. For anything. It drives me up the wall. It's so frustrating to me. Just a second. I'm sorry, did I lose you all? I'm back. I'm back. Um, Umar has constantly been on some large platforms spreading nonsense. Listen, I am actively advocating for conversation amongst primarily Black people and also people of color and just people in general to consider going out into the world and building communities with intentional, sustainable communities as an alternative to being required to participate in the mainstream that has done nothing but uh, erode our connection with the land, erode our spiritual awareness, erode our sense of community, erode our ideals in becoming an entrepreneur, in creating things and building things for ourselves. That type of life is not for everyone. And so I am actively seeking to connect with other people and to suggest we have these conversations. If you decide that the matrix life is for you, that's fine, but we need to have larger conversations. These larger platforms do not want to talk to a Black woman from Los Angeles about building community. They would rather talk to a blowhard who has nothing to show for any of what he says. That's because that's the function of patriarchy, unfortunately. There's a preference given to that. People are attracted to abuse. People are attracted to people who don't live in integrity. If you live in integrity, you expect for people to ask for receipts, for proof. When I read tarot for someone, when I am doing spiritual consultation with someone, I take that very seriously. No, you're fine. I understood what you were saying. I do. I am absolutely 100% committed to helping people build independent communities, helping people be self-sufficient. I don't know if you guys know this, but my husband is literally a master cultivator. He has the greenest of thumbs. And we're going to be doing we're trying to figure out the best way to go about sharing the information that he has. But there's a necessity for this. We are in, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm very passionate about this because I feel like this is really the time. 2020 has shown us the necessity for us to be more on top of what it is that we say that we're about. You know, if we say that we're about community building, then where's the community? If we say that we want to grow our own food and we're tired of being reliant on, on the grocery stores to dictate what you get to have, where's the proof? We need to be adaptable. I know that we can do it. I know that we can. I'm 1000% certain that we're able, but we need to hold each other accountable. I need to have neighbors who I can rely on. If all the lights go out and all I have is you know you can rely on me, but can I rely on you? That's community. Putting the needs of the collective above the needs of the individual. That's community. That's living in integrity. Showing empathy and kindness. Trying to use, like, one person may have more knowledge and skill than you, but you might have more money. So between the two of you, you can balance things out. That's community building. But this whole Umar thing with this damn school, he would never want to talk to me. He wouldn't want to talk to me. He doesn't want to talk to anyone that he can't intimidate. I cannot be intimidated. So for all 21 of you, thank you for joining me. This is my second live on YouTube. I regularly do lives on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Instagram. If you have Instagram, please follow me over there. But I decided to come over here. This was supposed to be kind of a follow-up to the conversation that I had with Nappy Headed Jojoba and Seren the other day. Some of you have not seen it. So no problem. Feel free to put in questions. This isn't a lecture. I like to call these lives our conversations. They're our opportunity to interact with each other. So if you have any questions for me about really anything, it can be about, hi Karina. Hi. Nice to see you. You can ask me about anything. You can ask me about spirit. You can ask me about Brazil. You can ask me about Costa Rica. You can ask me about, anything. Oh yes, you guys, please. If you're in here, there's 21 of you in here. Please go out, hit the like button, and come right back in. And I'm ready for your questions. It can be really about anything. The last time I had a live, I think it was Thursday, someone asked me about how I felt about polygamy. Like, it can be really anything. We're having conversations. But I've been talking about the need to fact check and require qualifications for the people that we allow to come in our spaces and dictate to us, holding people accountable, holding ourselves accountable for who it is that we say that we are, what it is that we say that we want to do. Where's the proof of that? Where's the energy shown that you have dedicated to what it is that you said that you wanted to do? I often on my Instagram lives, I talk about your scope of influence. And I realize that that might be a little vague. So I just want to, really quickly kind of explain what I mean. When I say step into your divine creatorship and be in consideration of your scope of influence, that means think about all that you have interaction with, everything that is within your reach, right? There's a serenity prayer. God grant me the wisdom to know what I can't change and the knowledge to change what I can, or something like that. There's a difference between what you can change and you just aren't because you don't believe that you can. And there's things that are outside of your control, like the systems that we're born under. I think growing our own food is going to be a necessity, but also it's spiritually nourishing. Absolutely. Connecting with your food and getting to pick it and eat it the same day. It hits different. It absolutely does. And it takes work. It actually helps, especially with children, but adults too. It helps with this instant gratification. You know, you understand how much work it takes to grow that zucchini. You're going to use it. You're not going to let it go to waste because you know what it took to get it here. Would you live in the mountains in either Africa or an island? I know you're not a fan of either. But I live in the mountains. I would. I would live on a mountain. For me, I have to live up high. I don't know. Well, I do know what that is. It has to do with um my orientation as in Ifa, in who my Orisha is. I'm oriented towards being up high where I can see everything. I would live in the mountains in Africa or an island, but I would be 1000% self sufficient. I mean, 1000%. I'd have wind energy, I'd have solar, I would have, the deepest, widest garden you've ever seen. I'd have a greenhouse, I'd have my own animals like that. That's the only way I would do it. Worth building that skill now, even if you can't be totally self sufficient. I mean, it's a process to become self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency doesn't just happen overnight. Most of us can't afford all at once the money for the infrastructure that you would need to become instantly self-sufficient. It takes time. And you also have to learn things, like we're learning. We have our rabbits. We just, we were fortunate enough to be able to replace them. We have goats. We have a little boy, so we're gonna have to separate him and then mate him with with the female that we got. We've never done that before. The the kids that were born, that was my first time ever assisting an animal in a birth. I'd never done that before. I threw on some rubber gloves and helped pull the babies out of her. I had never done anything like that before. There's a learning curve to things, and you're gonna make mistakes, but you got to be willing to ask for help and to put your ego aside. We have to, but we also have to hold those who position themselves as authorities or as knowledgeable. We have to hold them accountable and not feel bad about it or feel weird about it. Let me check. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions, or am I just running my mouth? Am I just running my mouth? But no, it's really important. It's important. Oh, thank you. It's important that we have these concepts and these ideas. And above all, I don't care where it is that you are or what you plan on doing. Put in the work right now while you can to be prepared. It's not preparation if you're reacting to an emergency situation. Reacting to an emergency situation is just reacting. Preparedness is thinking ahead while you have access to the things that you may need and putting them aside. That's preparedness. I want you to be prepared. Have your bug out bags, have your water, have your dried foods, have your indoor garden, have your outdoor garden, have your medications put aside, buy your herbs that you might need. You have a question. Okay, Serenity. What mantra or self assured statement do you recommend future expats carry with them throughout their journey towards leaving? That's a really, really good question. Um, and it depends on what you're struggling with, also. But one thing that I say to myself all the time, which might sound a little funny, but I'm going to share it because you asked. I am a magnet. I attract all things that are good, abundant, and full of love. I am a magnet. I am a magnet for all things good and abundant and full of love. I say that all the time. If you believe that when you step foot in a new place, and people that have known me for years, they will tell you this about me. I move through the world like I own it, not with ego, but with confidence. I know that my squad, that my egg bay, that my ancestors, that God has their eyes on me and are supporting me. And I move through the world with that assuredness. I'm always comfortable wherever I am. So when you're thinking about moving, move with the sense that you are at home wherever you are. You are. You are home. Your family is home. Wherever you are is home. And you will attract to yourself those who mean you well, those who will help and assist you. That's another thing I do. I ask people for help. Do you know how disarming it is to ask someone for help? I will tell people I'm not, I'm not comfortable right now, or I don't really know where I am. Can you help me? Where's the best this? Where's the restaurants? Where should I go for this? Where should I go for that? It's disarming to people. Excuse me. It ignites, it kind of flips the switch in people to not view you as the enemy. And it shows them respect. And they want to prove to you that they know what they're talking about when you ask for help. It's a great disarming mechanism. It's a wonderful way of communicating, also. And that goes with anything. Well, can you help me? I need assistance. And then suddenly people are telling you where you can go get the best this. People are telling you where you can find that. That's what I do. How do I say, como se dice, como se diga, right? How do I say when you're learning a new language? It's another way of asking for help. What are your thoughts about people that want to live in a foreign country for half the year? I think if you can afford to do it, do it. If you can do half and half, then by all means, that can be really beneficial. I don't have any issue with that at all. I mean, in a perfect world, I would probably spend 6 months a year here, 3 months in another country, probably Brazil, because I love it. I mean, maybe not right now, but in the future, I'd go back. And then 3 months traveling in a perfect world, you know. But you can do it. Are there any more questions? But yeah, learning how to disarm, learning how to engender people's consideration is a skill. And it's definitely something that you're going to want to do when you move abroad. Now, I'm not saying, present yourself in an unsafe way, like I don't know anything and you can tell me any old thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about regular people whose frequency and vibration you can pick up are kind of on the fence, starting a conversation, asking them, how do I say this? Or can you tell me where the bank is? Or I need some help. I'm trying to do XYZ thing. It engenders so much help and you get so much more information when you do that. So, that's just another little tip. Moving through the world, moving through life with the belief that you are loved and cared for and protected at all times is a mantra because it's the truth. And really holding space for that and knowing that you are loved, even if by no one in the 3D, your ancestors, your spirit guides, they're present and they want what's best for you. And feeling comfortable connecting with that. It's changed my life. It really has. It's changed my life. Were there any other questions, you guys? And I appreciate having moderators. It does really make things easier. So then I don't have to remember to tell people to hit the like and it does manifest in my day-to-day perspective and in how I interact with people. It definitely does. But I had to put aside my ego. Is Costa Rica my forever home? Sam So Pretty. Any other places on my radar? You know what? This home that I'm in is my forever home. Like, I love my house. I love my house. We had kind of, it was like a kind of a joking, but what if type of conversation with Hubs the other day. I was like, I got my house for like bottom basement price, right? Like it's worth way more than what we paid for it. And so it could be a really good opportunity to sell and make some money, especially right now. There's a lot of foreign investors coming to buy in Costa Rica. And so I was like, if we could get $1 million for this house, would you sell it? And he was like, hell yeah, tomorrow. And I was like, I wouldn't. If I sold this house and spent the money buying another piece of property and built the exact same house, it still wouldn't feel the same. I love my home. I've never had a home before. You know what I mean? Like, I never felt at home anywhere else. It's not even so much the country as much as the place that I'm in on this mountain in this particular home. But the country itself is peaceful, and that's what I like. There's things that I don't love about this country or about the culture and the people. I'm just being honest. But I feel like this is the right place to build and to draw and to build community. So the things that I miss the most, I am drawing to myself from a stable place. Thank you, Karina. You're the best too. I love you guys so much, and I really appreciate this interaction, and I'm so grateful that you guys, listen to me. What do you think about spending time in different countries rather than moving abroad immediately for a forever home? Joanna, I think that if you don't really feel like you want to invest, like be fixed in one place, travel around. There's no reason why you can't. There's no reason why you can't. I think that you still have to have a plan though. Maybe get with me and we'll make a plan. You need to have a plan regardless, but you're not obligated to move to just one place. How is Costa Rica for equal rights? Equal rights. They do have marriage equality. They just passed those laws this year, so there is marriage equality. Um, they have some xenophobia, you know, mostly with Nicaraguans, mostly. Venezuelans, a little bit too. I'm neither Nicaraguan or Venezuelan, so I'm not speaking as an authority of a group that I don't belong to. I am a Black woman, and I really honestly have not experienced very much outward racism. I know that racism is here, it exists, but I haven't been victim of very much overt racism in that way. If you had a more, if there was another direction you were asking about or something more specific, feel free to ask. Women's rights. Interesting. So I would say, in a very general way, women here, they run businesses. The women are actually more outwardly aggressive than the men are. I'm being really honest with you. There is not there's not legal abortion here, and I think that that is ultimately just an exercise in controlling the female body, and so they need to catch up with that. The vice president is a woman, though. It's hit or miss. I think that striving for equality for women's rights is going to be a global thing, but I think that we're being supported in it because I just think that it's time. I think that the imbalance in the patriarchy, the way that it's been, is being shown to not work, and I think that there's more and more room just on an energetic level. I think that people, whether or not they like it or not, are aware that there's going to be a shift out of patriarchy. I don't think it's not sustainable. There's too much death and destruction. I said it. There's too much death and destruction in this current system, and it has to be dismantled and put back together the way that it should be. That's really my opinion. And I'm married to a man who I really respect and love, and he knows that this is exactly how I feel. So, were there any other questions? We're getting ready to wrap up, you guys. I have an appointment. If you were interested or had any questions or have been thinking about setting up an appointment with me, If you want to do spiritual reading, if you wanted to do relocation, if you have questions about relocation, if you wanted to do both, because really looking at spirit and considering what spirit is trying to communicate to you isn't separate. It's not distant, it's not different. If you wanted to do any of that work with me, feel free to go over to Instagram, click the book now, or you can go to my website, the Global Black Girl, and you just click any book now. um and we will go from there, and I will do my best to give you the information and the guidance that I can for what it is that you are trying um to experience. So oh, you enjoyed the live. Thank you, Nikki. You've been thinking about relocating to Costa Rica for years. You've lived all over Europe, and you're open to many countries. Listen, if you think that something that I could offer you would help figure out your next steps, book a relocation session with me and we can talk about it, because Costa Rica was on my number one pick for a lot of reasons, but I've lived in other places. And the things that I'm seeking in my life may not be what you're seeking. And so Costa Rica may or may not be the right choice for other people. That's fine too. Let's get into the conversation. So yeah, you can go over to the website, any book now, you click on that, it gives you my spiritual readings and my relocation hours, and we can go from there. You guys have been amazing, and now the room is starting to fill up, of course. I will definitely go longer next time. I just did a live tarot reading on Instagram for 2 hours, and then I came over here. I'm going to try to be more consistent. I will be back on Thursday for a live with you. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out to me through the website. I really appreciate you all. It's theglobalblackgirl.com. It's the Global Black Girl on Instagram. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you followed. I appreciate you guys so much. Please share me with like-minded people. Like the video, rewatch it. I'm trying to get to my I think it's 4,000 watch hours that I don't have yet. So if you could just do me that favor, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. You guys have a good rest of your day. It's been a pleasure. Bye bye.